millions of Christians believe one day they will suddenly disappear. No warning, no explanation, just gone. But what if that idea isn't actually in the Bible the way you think? What if the rapture is not about escaping the world, but facing something far more difficult? Because if that's true, then a lot of people are not prepared for what's coming. It's a powerful image. People vanish, clothes left behind, cars abandoned mid-road, the world thrown into confusion. It's been preached, written about, turned into movies, books, and entire belief systems. But here's the uncomfortable question. Where did this idea really come from? Because for nearly 18 centuries of Christianity, from the apostles to the early church, there is no clear, widespread teaching of a secret disappearance of believers. Not in the writings of Augustine of Hippo, not in the theology of Thomas Aquinas. So why does it feel so certain today? Was it always there? Or did we begin to read it into the text? Now consider the passage most often used to support it. In First Epistle to the Thessalonians we read, "The dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive will be caught up to meet the Lord in the air." Caught up. That's where the idea of rapture comes from. But here is something rarely explained. The word meet in that passage was commonly used in the ancient world for a very specific moment. When a king approached a city, the people would go out to meet him, not to leave with him, but to escort him back. It was not an escape, it was a welcome, a public declaration that the king had arrived. So what if this passage is not describing believers leaving the earth, but rising to greet a king who is returning to it? What if the focus is not disappearance, but arrival? Because if that's true, then everything changes. The expectation shifts from escape to encounter, and that creates a tension many would rather avoid. Because if the goal is not to escape suffering, then suffering becomes part of the journey. But many have been taught the opposite, that before things become truly difficult, before tribulation reaches its peak, they will be removed, taken, safe. But ask yourself honestly, where is that clearly promised? Not assumed, not implied, clearly. Because the same scriptures speak repeatedly of endurance, of perseverance, of faith that is tested. Even in Gospel of Matthew, we hear words that are not comfortable. There will be tribulation. Many will fall away. The one who endures to the end will be saved. Endures, not escapes. Endures. So now the question becomes unavoidable. Are we preparing to stand or preparing to disappear? Because those are not the same thing. And if a person builds their faith on the expectation of escape, what happens when they are called to endure? Does their faith collapse? Or does it deepen? Now step back even further, because this is not just about interpretation. It's about the kind of believer this teaching creates. If you believe you are leaving the world, you disengage from it. But if you believe a king is coming to reclaim it, you prepare for his arrival. You live differently, you endure differently, you hope differently, because your focus is not on escaping the moment, but being faithful in it. And that brings us back to the pattern we cannot ignore. The pattern of Jesus Christ. His path was not escape. It was suffering, followed by glory, a cross, before a crown. So if his followers expect a different path, a way around suffering instead of through it, are they following him or redefining the journey? Now, to be clear, there are sincere believers who hold firmly to a rapture interpretation. And this is not about dismissing them. It is about asking a deeper question. Have we examined this belief carefully or simply inherited it? Because when something becomes popular, it often becomes unquestioned. And when it becomes unquestioned, it becomes powerful. But truth does not fear questions, it invites them. So maybe the real issue is not just, is the rapture real? But what kind of faith are we building? A faith that depends on escape? Or a faith that is ready to endure? Because if the return of Christ is not about disappearing, but about revealing, not about avoiding the end, but standing in it, then the question is no longer whether you will be taken, but whether you will be ready to stand when the King arrives.